Captainmidnight.
After seemingly endless reshoots, moving around the release date, and a harsh article about its production dropping in Vulture right as it came out, Captain America Brave New World is finally here. I was not expecting much out of this, to be honest, and that turned out to be wise because, man, there is not much here. I'm gonna dive into it, and full spoilers will be on the table, so beware. First, a quick thank you to everyone who subscribed last week. I'd love to hit 720k subscribers, and you're all making that happen a lot sooner than I was expecting, honestly. And if you haven't subscribed yet, but find yourself watching my videos, now might be the time.
What's in the box, little bird?
my mom made cookies.
So for those who don't know, Captain America Brave New World follows Sam Wilson after the events of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, as he finds himself taking orders from the newly elected American president, Thunderbolt Ross, played by Harrison Ford, taking over for the late William Hurt in the 2008 Hulk movie. When Sam's friend Isaiah Bradley is put under mind control and appears to try to take out Ross, Wilson is set against the president, thanks to a few shadowy villains behind the scenes, most notably Samuel Stearns, who is out for revenge and who you may, or honestly may not, remember from The Incredible Hulk as well. Alright, so I am going to get into some specifics about this movie soon, and honestly, I had kind of planned on saving this critique until the end to, end on a strong final point or whatever, but, I feel like I should state up front what I feel like the biggest issue with Brave New World is. This is Sam Wilson's first movie as Captain America, and he's painfully underwritten in it. It's a movie that hints at a pretty great emotional through line for him, that he's a man with no superpowers trying to step into the shoes of someone who had them. But it can't be bothered to do anything with that. It's also a prime example of why I believe the live-action Disney Plus shows have been disastrous for the MCU. As much of the fertile ground that you'd want to see tackled in Sam's debut movie has already been chewed through on a lower budget and dragged out across 6 episodes. I know that sounds a bit harsh, and that show had its moments, but I really believe it hurt this movie in the end. Sam just feels sidelined here. Present, but rarely having the most interesting or dynamic storyline at play in any given scene. And like I said, I really like this concept that he hasn't taken the serum. That in that final battle with Red Hulk, he's going up against him with the skills of a highly trained human man and some high-tech gear. Something the movie pays lip service to, but doesn't bother to make you feel the stakes of in any significant way. The technology gets so crazy powerful, and his ability to throw the shield feels so superhuman that it undercuts the scrappier elements this could have really lended Sam. I feel like you should have felt the impact of the choice to be the super serumless Cap in every action scene. Every punch taken, hitting him a little bit harder, and every threat he manages to dodge potentially lethal. A Captain America with everything to lose, for whom things could go south in an instant if he's not always at the very top of his game. I feel like that's present between the lines of the text, but it's never used to propel his character forward in any meaningful way here. Instead, he feels like a supporting character in his own movie. This feels especially obvious when you have subplots like the one with Sidewinder, a bad guy played by Giancarlo Esposito, who in his post-Gus career has become the go-to actor to hire if you want to add some gravitas and credibility to a really undercooked villain. The battles between the two feel so inessential and disconnected from the rest of the story that they just seem tacked on. And lo and behold, according to Collider, that's exactly what they were, added in reshoots later in the process. I don't want to make reshoot sound like a bad word, like they can be very necessary, but when you have to add in an entire major character with them, it's probably a hint you weren't exactly looking at a rock solid script to begin with. And the script here is just incredibly uninspired and stitched together. It's the unseasoned chicken breast of MCU stories, a political thriller whose advertising campaign was built on giving away the twist. It's not particularly thrilling and is so scared of saying anything remotely politically charged that it ends up making Captain America Civil War look like the parallax view in comparison. It also depends heavily on you having seen The Incredible Hulk, Endgame, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and The Eternals. Now, to varying degrees, granted, but still, the weight of the past is heavy in this one. I think being familiar with the 2008 Hulk movie is especially important for this to pack any sort of punch with the Thunderbolt Ross storyline. Now, I know most of my viewers will have seen all of these things, but the fact that Captain America 4 banks the emotional stakes of its ending on a quick appearance from Liv Tyler's Betty Ross? I mean, it's ridiculous. I cannot believe they thought this was a good idea. Nothing against Liv Tyler. If they had brought her back and she was an impactful supporting character in this movie, then sure, by all means, try to make that scene with her and Harrison Ford at the end work. But this? You're asking a glorified cameo from a little-loved movie from almost 20 years ago to carry the ending of your main storyline. Like, what are we doing here, guys? Come on.
We recount the tale of Steve Rogers, the man who would become Captain America.
Despite some returning characters from the Disney Plus show, like the mostly wasted Isaiah Bradley, and some new ones, like the instantly forgettable, not quite Sabra, it's Thunderbolt Ross who really takes center stage here. You pay Harrison Ford to show up, you're gonna want to get your money's worth, I understand. I think the marketing of this movie really did this already tepid story a huge disservice, though. If you knew one thing about this movie going in, it was that Red Hulk was in it. They've plastered his face and fists all over the marketing, clearly worried that Sam Wilson Cap alone would not be enough to sell this thing. And that may have made sense from a marketing perspective. Judging by the opening weekend numbers, it's like mostly paying off. But the thing is, the fact that Stearns is turning the President of the United States into the Red Hulk via his medication is the big reveal of the movie. His plan at the White House press conference to expose and humiliate Ross so much that it triggers his transformation is his last big play. And keep in mind, he was set up as like the ultimate probability genius. So here it is, his shocking grand plan finally coming to fruition. And it's just, the fight we all knew was coming from the trailer. Like, that's really it. Even approached without that knowledge from the marketing, this still would have been a really underwhelming plan from a super genius. With it, it just feels phoned in beyond belief. And the way Sam talks Ross down is so lame. This "I know you're still in there" type thing we've seen played out 1,000 times before. A trope they even mock earlier in the fight, only to do it in earnest after the vibranium explodes. Now, I'm not even opposed to digging up an old cliche if you can execute it well. Like, this is an action-adventure superhero movie. I'm not looking for it to break every narrative convention in the book or anything. But why even do the whole winky, "oh, that old hacky plan isn't gonna work" shtick if it works like 5 minutes later? I was excited to see a super serumless Captain America try to find a way to defeat a Hulk. But I guess it didn't take much beyond some high-tech gear from Wakanda and a "this isn't you, you've gotta fight this, remember who you love" speech that would have felt old hat in a 20-year-old episode of Supernatural. The fact that they managed to completely waste Tim Blake Nelson, one of our finest living actors, and a guy who should have been primed to give a crazy fun or creepy performance as leader, is just the cherry on top of all of this. I know I've been harsh on the MCU for a while now, to the point where I'm sure a lot of Marvel fans watching this are tired of it. Thing is, I really want to like these movies. I've enjoyed every Captain America movie up to this point, especially the underrated First Avenger, which I think is just about everything you could possibly want out of an old-fashioned Hollywood blockbuster. I like Anthony Mackie, I love Harrison Ford, and having yet another post-Endgame Marvel movie turn out this way, even with all those elements in play, I mean, it's not shocking at this point. It's pretty expected when you factor in the behind-the-scenes chatter, but I can't help but be a little more disappointed than I usually am from these things. I'm not calling this a train wreck because it's a little too dull and by the books to really stand out enough and be given that label, but it is embarrassing. The Captain America trilogy is one of the MCU's defining successes. Marvel at their most confident and exciting. And to have years and years to plan the follow-up and then give us this uninspired TV movie feeling semi-sequel to The Incredible Hulk? Captain America fans deserve better than this. Marvel fans deserve better than this. People who want to catch an action movie on their night off deserve better than this. Whatever process Disney and Marvel have developed that led to this end result needs to be demolished and rebuilt from the ground up, because this movie, this just won't do. Captain America Brave New World is probably the year's first truly big budget movie, and there's definitely a place for that. But if you're looking for something a little more independent, I'd check out the hit travel competition show Jet Lag. Competitors face off in massive games in different countries around the world. Imagine travel vlogging, but as a highly creative game show where another twist is always around the corner. It's pretty perfect for anyone who wants a more personal and less network TV feeling take on something like The Amazing Race. Jet Lag has been going strong on Nebula for seasons and seasons now, so there's definitely a lot to check out there. And the best part is, that's just the tip of the iceberg, because Nebula is constantly growing and getting new and original projects. Nebula is also where you can get all my videos completely ad-free, along with some originals of my own, which I'm planning on adding to soon. It's the home of videos from Lindsay Ellis, Hello Future Me, and Patrick H. Willems, who also has a new short film coming to Nebula as well. They're all there alongside so many others, encompassing so many genres of video. So don't miss it. Get 40% off now. Meaning a Nebula membership will only be $36 a year or $3 a month at go.nebula.tv/CaptainMidnight right now. And when you do, you'll also receive guest passes, allowing friends and family to gain access to Nebula for a week too. It's a great offer, and you can find it at that link down in the description or pinned comment below.
Here's a special tip for the fellas and girls who have not already joined Captain Midnight's new 1940 Flight Patrol. You'd better hurry up and join at once, because there's a big adventure ahead. The thing to do now is to get started, because we're going to have not only barrels of fun, but loads of free gifts and prizes too.